Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and good evening. Today we are going to discuss about the former DGI's conviction, General Faiz Hamid, and its fallout on the political activities and the future of politics of Pakistan, as everybody is talking about. And we have seen that latest news are coming up that the former journal had a very close association with the PTI and former Prime Minister Imran Khan. I have a very prominent and senior journalist with me today, Mr. Mateen Haider. He has been associated with this profession over 3 decades, and presently he is associated with the V News digital network, and he is doing his, in fact, independent show. Thank you very much, Mr. Mateen, for joining me. Please tell me first that.
Pleasure to be in your show. Pleasure
Thank
to
you
be
very
in your
much.
show.
You're most welcome. Kindly tell me how you see this, conviction at the first place, because there wasn't any precedent previously or any example of giving, such a punishment to a former spy master and a chief of ISI.
Thank you so much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And I would like to just clarify that my opinion over here is independent opinion, and that does not reflect the opinion of TV News. So since you're a comrade and long-time friend, so this question you have raised is extremely important, and I agree completely with you that this is one of the extraordinary development in the history of in the political history of Pakistan, civil military relations history of Pakistan. Although in the past there have been court-martial proceedings against many general officers uh, to the junior rank as well and up to the three-star. And keep in mind, Lieutenant General retired Javed was court-martialed, and he was given 14 years rigorous imprisonment. And Brigadier retired Rizwan Raja was also court-martialed. He was given death sentence, although that was challenged later on. But this particular case, you very rightly said, unprecedented in Pakistan's history that any of former inter-services intelligence chief has been convicted. So if we just dip into some of the facts that you also narrated, and of course that was also part of the official press release shared by Inter-Services Public Relations, the media wing of the Armed Forces of Pakistan, that misuse of authority, violation of the Official Secret Act, and then interference into the politics. So there were 4 counts. So that's very clear, weights up that for every army officer, rather all 3 armed forces of Pakistan, and of course, inter-services intelligence is also an inter-services body which is under the administrative control of the Prime Minister, as ISI chief is under the rules. He is answerable to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister is the authority who appoints him directly, unlike other chiefs who are appointed by the President of Pakistan. ISI chief remains answerable to the Prime Minister of Pakistan. This is for the kind information of our viewers. Now, the thing that I was just sharing with you that this is not just the beginning. They will be you will be hosting more and more shows. The In the time to come, there will be more stories unfolding related to Lieutenant General retired Fazli. So one important aspect is whatever he was doing. Of course, inter-services intelligence chief is considered very very powerful in Pakistan, and I would like to say he's basically the kingmaker, right? So, but whatever he does, right, that is on the instructions of the two persons. One, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and second, of course, the Chief of the Army Staff. But in this case, the things which are unfolding and information which is reaching to you and reaching to us is completely different, that he did not act in accordance with the instructions of the command. He acted at his own. For example, you are well aware, you are also an investigative journalist. Look into the case of the top city, the way he was pressurizing the management of that housing society. And then this is Mr. Faisal Bavda, who is member of the parliament, and he also confirmed that this is just one case. There have been series of other cases other than the 9th May. So I would just like to say that this punishment, this sentence by Military General Court Martial, has sent a clear message that no one is above the law. But at the same time, if armed forces, if the current chief of the defense forces and chief of army staff, Field Marshal Asim Munir, has done definitely this thing, there was a demand by Pakistan Muslim League and President Mia Nawaz Sharif. Since long he has been demanding, not fresh, but since long he has been demanding that those who collaborated with founder PTI chairman Imran Khan to topple his government, all such people should be brought to book. They should be punished. So this has been basically long-standing demand of
Okay.
Muslim League. And
I have
but
a,
at the
okay.
same time, yes,
Yeah.
last sentence, and you may take the mic.
Please go
So,
ahead.
but at the same time, a military itself was watching, monitoring. Mr. Waheed Ahmed, you have also been attending inter-services public relations briefings, and you are quite well aware about military's rules, regulation, and these things. Military service, with compared to civil service, is extraordinarily tough. There is very strong check, balance, and these all things. And in the past, we have heard and attended many ISPR briefings since this particular case was touched and was talked in ISPR briefings. And many times, DG ISPR was on record in saying that there is an ongoing accountability system in the armed forces of Pakistan. So I would just like to conclude by saying this, that military has its own system, mechanism under which this all has happened. And finally, a top three star former spy master has been convicted.
Rightly, you have rightly said. That's why time and again during last few months, whenever the DG ISPR used to hold a press briefing, so a question related to General, Faiz was being asked by the journalist, and
By
they said
journalists,
that,
exactly.
yeah, they were saying that why the decision is not being announced or it's not being made. So the general used to say that we want to
It's in
give
the
a
process.
fair, yeah, a process and fair trial. That's why it took
Hmm.
almost 15 months. Now my question is that there was a story in the News International today by a very senior investigative journalist that General Faiz Hamid has taken away certain very, sensitive documents when he was out of, when he was retired. So those documents must be very sensitive nature. That's why this conviction that we are witnessing at the moment.
Very right. I will just for your information and for the information of our worthy viewers, I would just quote three of the U.S. examples where Robin Raphael reportedly took away certain documents and official emails at her residence.
Mr.
Former
Bolt
Deputy
also
Secretary
is
State.
recently being punished there.
Exactly. So Richard Olson, who was former U.S. ambassador to Pakistan, he was also convicted on multiple charges. And then, last but not the least, this General retired David Petraeus, CIA chief, Mr. Wade Ahmed, when FBI knocked the door of the CIA chief, that he was sitting with an unauthorized woman in the office of the director of Central Intelligence Agency, and the woman was about to touch the classified computer of CIA chief. So immediately, the moment information reached to the then President, Mr. Obama, he was asked to step down. Now, although he was very, very respected figure in the U.S. establishment, he has served in Iraq and in Afghanistan, and then he was serving on a top position. So this is clear thing that whenever you are holding an official position, once that position is over, or you resign, or tenure was completed, or there was reshuffle or change, then you are out from the system. You cannot, of course, take away certain important files, documents, and things like that. And as you mentioned earlier, it is going to reveal more and more thunderstorm facts. I will use this word thunderstorm in the days to come. This former general was closely associated with PTI chairman
There
Imran
is
Khan.
there is a question. There is a question that today the defense minister said that uh, on the May 9th, events which naturally took place for the first time in the history of Pakistan, where the protester directly, attacked on the military installations. So he was saying that General Faz were also involved in that as well. He used the PTI workers and all that. So do you think that this is going to bring, a more kind of a bad time is coming for this political party?
It's a very good question. Not only bad time for this political party, but even, of course, both Mr. Faiz Hamid and Mr. Imran Khan both were involved in instigating the PTI workers to the violence. And you know against whom you are instigating the people? Against the armed forces of Pakistan. This is most shameful, strongly condemned thing the way things happen. Nothing is secret now, right? Even if the PDI viewers are listening to this, even the audios were made public, videos were made public, messages were made public. How the top PDI leadership have been collaborating and have been conspiring, have been planning, have been plotting, and some of the monuments were even not spared. From Mianwali to Peshawar and Peshawar to Lahore and Lahore to Rawalpindi and across Pakistan. And most unfortunate thing, which has nothing to do with this violence, was one of the oldest building of Radio Pakistan in Peshawar that was set on fire. So, and one of the biggest military place, Jinnah House in Lahore, was set on fire, ransacked, and then Armed Forces Institute of Cardiology in Rawalpindi and whatnot. Most shameful, and I will say strongly condemned. Now coming to its analysis. So, of course, it was found, and the moment he was transferred from Inter-Services Intelligence, he used to remain in touch with the Prime Minister. That was also against the military discipline.
When he was
So,
when he was
and as a
when he was posted
Corps
as
Commander
Corps
Peshawar.
Commander Bashar, yeah.
Corps Commander Peshawar. He was in constant in touch with the Prime Minister. Right, as an inter-services intelligence chief, he can remain in touch anytime, 24/7. But as a corps commander, of course, the chain of the command is the chief of the army staff. And of course, if there is any national security briefing or Apex committee briefing or provincial Apex committee briefing, then of course, Corps Commander Peshawar could definitely attend, share information about counter-terrorism operations. But he has been, as you said, and as that statement said, he has been involved in political consultation. I'm going to share something very, very important since first time you have invited me. Imran Khan's entire government was being run by former Lieutenant General Mr. Faiz, which was why the then Prime Minister was not ready to transfer him. He wanted to appoint him Chief of the Army
He
Staff,
kept him for
but
30
even for
days after the
yes,
posting.
exactly. So 30 days, and finally the then Army Chief Waheed Bajwa came and then finally convinced the Prime Minister that whatever appointment or whatever transfer that has to be done. And then, on the insistence of PTI founder chairman, three or four journals were interviewed for the post of Inter-Services Intelligence Chief, and among them was General Nadeem Anjum. And he has now also retired. Now, I would like to comment. He gave a professional answer to the then Prime Minister during the answer, and that was when there was no confidence motion against the then Prime Minister. He asked Lieutenant General Nadeem Anjum, right? Of course, this is quite public. This is not that secret. That please help me in filing this no confidence motion. He said, we have nothing to do with the political activity. My job is to focus on national security. This was a professional answer given by, and I think if this pattern, this policy is adopted by all successive chiefs of inter-services intelligence, I don't think so that there will be any political instability in the country or imbalance in civil-military relations.
That's great. That's
Lieutenant
great.
General, Lieutenant
Listen,
General Nadeem Anjum gave a very professional answer, and I would just like to mention again that since the office of the Prime Minister is there, and Khan has been on record in many interviews that ISI has every right to watch and see and what is happening in the Prime Minister office. So the then ISI chief, before Faiz Hamid was Mr. Asim Munir, he was Lieutenant General. And when he pointed out certain things, certain irregularities, very important from the family of the then Prime Minister, he got an eye. So, so that
I
cannot be
would like to
excused.
make a very brief comment on the political structure that we had in our country. Unfortunately, our political parties, those political parties which were leading governments in Islamabad, mm, um, I mean, People's Party or PML-N or PTI, the history tells us that they are happy when somebody on a very sensitive position, on a top position, help them to remain in power. They appreciate those personalities, but once uh, they start functioning according to the constitution of law, or their decisions are going to affect them negatively, then they raise the voices. And this we have seen, in the past as well. And presently, whatever is being done, it is only because they are not in the power. Do you agree with me?
Yes, I do agree with you. Taking, of course, till 1988, there was martial law in the country. I mean, there was partial democracy. The then President and Chief of Army Staff, General Zia, was in power, and then democracy finally returned after 1988 elections, and PPP came into power. And then you have seen Islami Jamhuri Ittehad, Operation Midnight Jackals, the conspiracy by the then Lieutenant General Hamid Gul, and subsequently creation of this ISI. And that was this. I'm not making any comment. This was a petition filed by late Air Chief Marshal retired Asghar Khan before Supreme Court of Pakistan about 1990 rigged elections and involvement of so many characters at that time. And then finally, the Supreme Court was not in a position to take final verdict or decision because of the sensitivity of the matter. And ultimately, in 2011, approximately, Mr. Waheed Ahmed, this was one of the longest time that Supreme Court took in deciding that thing. And I will just request all viewers, and you must be aware that the huge punishment was announced in that particular case. Pakistan People's Party was in power, but that decision was never implemented. The scene of the Supreme Court of Pakistan in 2011, after 15 years it gave. Since you talked about that all prime ministers have been seeking the assistance, late Shaheed Mohtarama Benazir Bhutto appointed at her will Lieutenant General retired Shamsur Rahman Kallu, the DG of ISI. and then immediately requested him that there was no confidence motion against her in back in 1989, and that no confidence motion was successfully filed. So I would just like to say someone agrees, someone may not agree. And you very rightly pointed out, I agree with your notion and point that it's all successive governments and prime ministers, including former prime minister and chairman of
No,
PTI.
yeah,
They
when you are,
they have been seeking help.
yeah, of
Exactly, they
course.
have been
When
dragging
you are with
military into
me,
politics.
when you are with me, you are good. When you are not with me, you are not good. This is the policy which
Exactly.
has been
So,
going on in this
exactly, when
country.
you are with me, you are good. When you are not with me, you are not good. So, they've been all successive governments, unfortunately, instead of relying on parliament, they have been seeking themselves, they have been dragging military into the politics. They have been, although, no, I'm appreciating this statement of DGISPR, the current DGISPR, Lieutenant General Ahmed Sharif Chaudhry. Time and again, he said, when there have been questions, he said military is part of the government. Of course, it is not an ultra government agency. And he said, whosoever is in power, it's obligatory on part of Pakistan Army, rather three armed forces of
They have to
Pakistan to
work with
extend
them. They
full
have to
support.
work with them. Okay,
They
now
have to
please
work
tell
with
me.
them.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Now, there are people, both in PTI as well as in PML-N. They're demanding that the former Army Chief Gen Bajwa, under whom this General Faiz was functioning or working or serving, he should also be, taken to the task. What is your opinion on that?
Well, it's all up to the investigations, which are, of course, on this particular, on these four cases, investigations have been completed, and he has been given this rigorous imprisonment. So, but during all investigation, while, as you mentioned in your one of the questions, that it took 14 months, things have already been completed,
15
documents have
months, sorry,
already been completed.
15 months.
Exactly, documents have already been completed. That
Yeah.
in some of the cases, of course, in some of the matters, he acted alone. In some of the matters, Faiz acted alone. And in some of the matters, of course, he was he got instructions from the then chief, General retired Plumber Javed Bajwa. So it's and of course in the future he could be summoned for sharing some information or for some investigation if pressure mounts from Pakistan Muslim League, and then I will not say that he could be taken into custody, but he could be requested to come and share information that actually who prompted him to do certain things or to assign certain tasks to Mr. Faiz Hamid, and what transpired and what
Okay.
were the
Okay.
things behind the scenes. So this was.
Now,
I will just conclude by saying that
yeah.
he may be summoned for sharing of information. But at this point in time, I rule out any possibility of the arrest of the former Chief of Army Staff, General retired Qamar Javed Bajwa.
Okay, Mr. Mateen, please tell me what you see after this conviction of General, Faiz. Do you see that there could be more, cases against Imran Khan regarding May 9 and other, things which were related at that time? And there are certain people, especially the KPCM, people say that he was also involved in the May 9, and there are cases against him. So, do you see that there could be a kind of a disqualification to his position as
Not
member of the Provincial
disqualification,
Assembly?
not disqualification, but something more seriously happening. Right? So it would be charges of mutiny against the state. 9th May was not an ordinary incident. It was mutiny against the state. When we say armed forces of Pakistan, they are part of the state of Pakistan. They work under the state of Pakistan. They are here. We have already seen in May how our three armed forces of Pakistan, along with the Strategic Command Force, gave a befitting response to India in case of that aggression. And Khan was the same prime minister in 2019 when India attacked Pakistan. the Indian fighter jets came into Pakistan, violating Pakistan's sovereignty. And Khan was on record saying that should I attack India? I will not attack India. So this was his position. So mutiny against armed forces of Pakistan, see the condition, and this word has been used by the DG ISPR, see the condition of Sudan, Libya, Palestine, although the Palestine doesn't have an army, but Lebanon, then this Syria, then Afghanistan, then Iraq, and then number of other countries in Arab world and in non-Arab world and in Africa. So in this, Pakistan is located in a region or in a place in South Asia where there are complex issues from regular threat from at the eastern border from India to the threat of the terrorism, and not only threat of the terrorism, rather Pakistan is currently on the western border engaged in the war against terrorism, and there have been. So we just received a story today that the KP government is not taking any action against poppy cultivation in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and that leads to the manufacturing of narcotics, and that is the major source of income for this fitna al-Khawarij,
Yeah, of course, there is a terror.
formerly known as.
There is a drug
So
terror
our question
nexus.
is
Yeah.
who is in governance? Who is in governance in KP? Earlier we have seen there
So
was
do you see
the
a
Quorum
governor rule
Agency.
in, do you see a governor rule coming in
At
future?
this point in time, exactly. So it could be a pressure tactics, but government may not indulge into any serious confrontation. I mean, Islamabad government may not indulge in any serious confrontation with Peshawar, but they would continue to put up pressure. Ministers would continue to say that we are contemplating, we are considering imposition of governor rules, this all. And then, unfortunately, the tone and the tenor used by this new chief minister of KP, again, regarding armed forces of Pakistan, was unfortunate. And then, see, there is no chain of the command who
Okay,
takes decision,
that's
whether the
great.
sisters of Imran Khan or
Mr.
whether
Mateen,
the.
finally, I will request you to please tell me that uh, you know PTI followers and their social media. Uh, Naturally, they are a political party and they have their affiliations. They have their own ideologies. They have their own approach politically or ideologically. But when somebody talks in a independent manner, fair manner, they don't
Hmm.
like it. We have been witnessing that the sisters of Imran Khan, they went to the Indian channels and they spoke
That
about
was very, very unfortunate,
the
exactly.
leadership of Pakistan military. And then the second aspect is that continuously for last maybe more than 3 years, that since the time when Imran was removed from the premiership, he has been having a very, uh, you know, a negative kind of or confrontational kind of approach towards the politics and towards the leadership
All
of military
institutions.
leadership.
Wait,
Yeah.
sir, I will
So
say all
do you
institutions
think the
against Supreme
question?
Court of
Yeah,
Pakistan,
of course.
against
My
Parliament,
question.
against Election Commission, against military, against media, against Saudi Arabia, our most respected brotherly country.
So my question is, do you think that this kind of approach is going to pay to Imran Khan and his party, or they
Very
are
good
going to
question.
lose more?
These all things are going to be counterproductive. Party may survive, but this founder chairman of this PTI, I mean, political survival I am talking about, and Khan has currently, I will say, zero political future, zero political wisdom, and of course, he could have negotiated things, whatever your reservations are you could have negotiated with the government or even with the establishment, and he could have been now traveling across Pakistan, holding public rallies, speeches, and as there are rallies across Pakistan, all political parties. You have seen your friend Hafiz Naim Rahman. He is not in the government, and he's holding rallies. JUIF, Maulana Fazlur Rahman is holding rallies. So, what I'm going to say from the decision of, and you will agree with me, of dissolving Punjab Assembly on the pretext that all assemblies will be dissolved. He was on the road, and that was one of the biggest government within. That was his wrong decision. And then the scene of resigning from assemblies was again wrong decision. And then
Do you
you have
think that
already witnessed that
Imran and his advisors, they do have learned some lessons, that the blunders, political blunders
they
they
have
made?
not learned some lessons, and through your this esteemed podcaster vlog, Khan, Faiz Hamid, Azam Khan, and some of his close cronies, and even Bushra Bibi and his closest friends. But on the top, Faiz, Azam Khan, Khan himself, and two, three closest people, they were responsible for his debacle, his political debacle. And at the end, I will say that what come may, this podcast will remain in digital archives. He has zero political future. The way he has done this 9 May incident, that is unpardonable, right? And even he didn't condemn. And over last 3 years, whatever sacrifices of armed forces of Pakistan are giving, have you seen any sympathy, any condolences for these officers and jawans, or even for the civilians? You belong to that province, KP and Balochistan, where there have been hundreds and thousands of uh, people and the armed forces, officers and jawans who got injured and who got martyred as well. And there is a government in KP of this party. We haven't seen condemnation against this TTP or condemnation against all terrorist attacks. So over last 3 4 months have been quite critical. So keeping in view this thing that this party is only looking at the power, and as you pointed out also, and once this party is out of the power, everything is bad for him. I feel sorry, and I don't think so that these old people who have been collaborating, Faiz Mead and Azam Khan and Bushra Bibi and some of his very close comrades and associates, a long list really. So they were responsible, and if with these some of the people who are still part of PDI is currently banned, and there is a new platform, Sunni Ittihad Council. So I don't think so, except KP. There might be any political future for this political party even in next 10 years, even in next ten years really. So it is not any individual in Pakistan's army. It is an institution's decision this 9th May. And as I said earlier, at the end, I would like to reiterate
But
and
but the
repeat
P, but the
that
PTI leadership was trying to segregate the top leadership from the rest of the military, in fact. But anyhow,
not
it
at
was a
all.
nice
Thank you,
talking.
sir.
It was a wonderful, yeah, it was a wonderful talk.
My
It was a
pleasure.
really thought provoking, enlightened our viewers. You have given
Very
such
kind of you.
a
Very
good
kind of you.
information, the history of Pakistan political history, and the background, especially for the young people, young students. Thank you very much, Mateen Haider, senior journalist.